Hello again. I am posting an update to my original predictions for the 2016 presidential elections. I've gotten quite a few comments so far, and a lot of the newest comments are kind of based on the original prediction, which I feel to be outdated now, so that's why I'm going to update it. Let's dive into it. What's changed since the last time? We've already had one Republican drop out of the race, Rick Perry. Didn't feel like he had a terrible amount of support to begin with. That one doesn't really surprise me very much. Um, I have been surprised with how bad Scott Walker's campaign has been. He just has generated no excitement. Honestly, his campaign looks to me like it's just kind of bumbling around. I felt like he had the best um, position, the best starting position to begin with, but campaigning is still important. You've got to convince people that what you're saying is something worth them, you know, voting for you for president. I mean, he has generated really no excitement, none in his home state. I really feel like at this point, the Democrats would take Wisconsin with or without Scott Walker. So that one I'm going to give to the Democrats. Still feel like they'll be taking Pennsylvania and New Hampshire and Virginia. There are people who think that New Hampshire and Virginia could go to the Republicans. I just don't see it at this point. Um, Both states voted for their incumbent Democrats in the last election, in the midterms. They, to me, they aren't trending Republican that I can see. Virginia maybe more than New Hampshire because it was a close race, but I just don't see it at this point that the Republicans are going to be able to take either of those states. And then with the rest of the states, still feel like the Democrats take New Mexico, and still feel like the Republicans uh, will take these other states, but it's going to depend on their nominee, and we'll dive into the nominees now. Um, so since the last video, um, Hillary Clinton has seen her support drop drastically. She's basically running neck and neck with Bernie Sanders right now. I still feel like at this point, she is still the most likely to be the nominee, but that could change within the next few months, especially. Um, I can't say it terribly surprises me. As I had said even in the first video, I felt like she was she's just not a very good candidate. Sticks her foot in her mouth far too often. Um, and so that doesn't terribly surprise me that she's lagging behind a little bit, and we'll see what happens with that. Um, Martin O'Malley, who I still feel like gives the Democrats the best chance, um, he's really not polling all that well. Not terribly surprised that he's not, but I figured someone was going to step up against Hillary. I thought it would, if it were going to happen, it would probably be him. I don't feel like Bernie Sanders gives Democrats a very good chance. Um, he describes himself as a socialist, and I just don't see that helping him in a lot of states. Um, Other things that might help him, especially here in Pennsylvania and there in Wisconsin. I think that basically the fact that the Republicans aren't going to nominate anyone that particularly excites those two areas, that'll probably help him if he does become the nominee. As far as the Republicans, obviously the two front runners at the moment, in fact, the clear front runner is Donald Trump, as repulsive as I find that, and behind him would be Ben Carson. I don't feel like Donald Trump is going to take the nomination. mean, I obviously I can't say for certain, but it really, to me, it depends on how much money, especially if his own money, he's willing to put into this. Because at this point, I think he's pissed off enough of the groups that would be responsible for financing his campaign that his funding is going to just basically dry up over the next 6 to 8 months. And I really don't see him as having that great of a shot. Of course, again, he could put a lot of his own funding behind his bid, and at that point, he might be able to get the nomination. But I just he he doesn't have any ideas. All he really knows how to do is uh, basically insult people. That's all he's really done is insult people over and over and over again. Has no idea. I mean, he says, "Oh well, I'm going to fix the immigration problem," um, but how? He doesn't say anything about how he's going to fix it. It's, how are you going to fix it, Trump? Oh, I'm going to fix it. Okay. So at this point, to me, it seemed like the most likely candidate for the Republicans is going to be Ben Carson, and I believe he can carry these states that I've put right here. Um, Now let's look though for let's see what would happen if Trump was the nominee. If if Trump is the nominee, I don't see him being able to carry Florida or Ohio, no matter what. I think those two are solidly in the Democratic column at that point. And then the rest of these states, I say it really depends on who the who the Democratic nominee is. Um, Another one, I don't think Trump would carry Nevada. Um, Colorado, maybe, but to be honest, probably not that one either. Uh, Basically, I think that if Donald Trump was the nominee, that this is about what you would see. I suppose the worst case scenario with Trump probably be something like maybe this, because Trump could do about that badly, I believe. Um, Now, if it's Ben Carson, there are some things with the Democrats that make a difference as well, and we'll go over that here. Hold on. Get everything back up for Carson. And there. So, I think he could take this. If the Republican nominee is Ben Carson, Democratic nominee is Bernie Sanders, I feel pretty confident he would take this. But if the nominee is instead Hillary Clinton, I feel like I'm not sure he has the support Ben Carson does to take both Florida and Ohio. I think he would probably take one or the other. And so that would put the Democrats over, or either one would put the Democrats over what they need to win the election. If the Democrats if the Democrats were to actually nominate Martin O'Malley, I feel like they would take both of these states, even if the candidate is Ben Carson, and they would have a much better chance of winning the election because in that case they can afford to lose Colorado and Nevada, Iowa, places like that. I mean, heck, they could even afford to lose Virginia if it did go Republican. So, basically, that's my update right now. So, please comment and let me know what you think. I feel like the race is getting more interesting at this point. Not really sure how things are going to shake out. I am disturbed by Trump's support, especially with his lack of any clear vision for what he wants to do. But hey, whatever.